Mirrorwatch, Overwatch's alternate reality game mode, just launched a couple days ago, and with all of Blizzard's silly game modes, sometimes there's some glimpses into the future and some of the ideas that they spitball in these game modes. I take a look at this patch and I go, which of these changes may actually benefit the characters that they're on, or maybe even benefit or be part of the hero design for new heroes in the future? Some of them are really cool, some of them are really silly, but I think there's a lot of interesting ideas here, and some that will probably surprise you. Okay, glimpse into the mirror, blah, blah, blah. Doom, I think Doom's changes were pretty, like, silly, and I don't think this will ever happen because it would make him... Obviously, every character on here is, like, stronger than they are on live, but the TLDR is just that when you use Seismic Slam and you use Meteor Strike, your allies around you get over health just for using the abilities, which I think is backwards of what Doom wants, because Doom wants to do damage and get shields. So probably not. And of course, giving him a shield on power block, that's not going to happen. Shooting the shield to get charge, I mean, like, that's just what power block does. Maybe they give that same idea of, like, you shoot the shield long enough on another character, like a new character, and it'll charge something or empower it. I could see that happening, but overall for Doomfist, probably not any of these. So Reinhardt, this is weird. When you throw his barrier up, if you shoot through it, it gets, like, damage amplified. And that one's weird, and I don't think that'll actually happen because that's pretty strong. The increased movement speed when it breaks, though, that's really interesting. So it's like you kind of want to use shield, and then you want it to break, because, you know, when it breaks, it's always a bad thing. But, like, giving it a way to, like, if you can get it to break, then you get a buff. That's really interesting, and it's like a weird dynamic. So I really like that idea. Maybe not on Ryan, maybe on something else, but, like, that's a cool idea in theory. Earthshatter just, like, doing, like, a kill button really close. That's silly. I don't see that happening. Doing damage with Rocket Hammer increases the attack speed. That, I think, could actually end up on a different character. Honestly, it could end up on Reinhardt, if we're being honest. But basically just, like, being rewarded for doing damage, being able to stay in fights longer, outscale any burst or healing, that's pretty good. I think that actually may be, like, a decent, like, oh guys, we have to stay away from this, like, if we assume it's a melee character, we have to stay away from him. If we let him scale, then we're never going to win this, right? It's kind of like Zarya. Like, I like the idea of tanks, like, you know, like, scaling during the fight a little bit. I think that's a cool idea, and, like, stuff like that to keep them more relevant as the fight goes on. If their health is getting lower and their resources are lower, then they can still pose a threat once they've taken the space. I think that's a really cool idea. All right, Zarya. Particle Cannon. Her secondary fire just shoots forward. Whatever, nothing. It's just, it felt kind of weird, to be honest. Her barriers now explode when they expire or burst, and they do some knockback and they do some damage. I don't think that would actually happen. But it's kind of interesting to be like, you know, Zarya has become a ticking time bomb. But it really just adds more close range to her, and Zarya would need something to help her with longer range or mobility, so I don't really see that happening. The reverse graviton, where it's like she throws it and it does like a concussion blast, that's pretty silly. That's like literally other characters' main abilities on an ultimate. I don't see that actually happening on anything. So, okay, Bastion. Bastion felt awful in this game mode. So he has a shotgun in recon mode, which is the second time in a silly mode that they've given him a shotgun. So I'm a little concerned that they are just going, not concerned, but like they might just be giving this character a shotgun. I don't know why. It never feels great when they do it, but you know, maybe they're really experimenting with that. Configuration intel. He doesn't go into turret mode. He just gets increased attack speed and reveals nearby enemies this is like the weirdest combination of like Bastion as being like a hunter character, like Bloodhound in what's it called, in Apex. Like this does not work for Bastion. Maybe on a different character this ability like works like they wanted to, but like with Bastion, not at all. The grenade not damaging himself, that should just happen. You should encourage people to use it for mobility. I think that's really fun. So I think that they should just do that. Calling in slicers as his ult instead of like the artillery, like he calls down PvE characters. No, definitely not. It's like Bob, but like more spread out, like little things. And they hunt. Oh my God, they were hunting people. They would always have a target and be able to find them. I don't see that coming as like a thing for other characters, and definitely not for Bastion. Echo felt awful. Like Echo, whatever they did to Flight, and we'll talk about that. Oh my God, it's so bad. So sticky bombs, they fire, they go slower and they hone on people, which is a terrible choice, or like a terrible thing. They're not actually going to do that for the real game because that feels bad and takes away some of her skill. Definitely not a good thing to actually have in the game. Flight you had like no vertical mobility at all. You flew forward super fast and did a little bit of damage, and then you had a little bit of like control. It felt really bad, really disorienting. It feels like you should be able to go up or down and you can't. This is just, they had no idea what to do with Echo, I think. So yeah. Focusing beam now slows enemies as well. Definitely don't do this. Echo has plenty of mobility to keep up with people with focusing beam, and it means that she has to go deeper sometimes and put herself more at risk to finish kills. Making a slow eliminates that. Definitely not a good change for Echo. Maximum efficiency, instead of copy, she just gets attack speed and reduced cooldowns, and she already feels really bad to use. So like this was bad. Obviously, copy was never going to go away. It's a very unique ult, very fun ult for Echo. So these Echo changes, I don't know what they were thinking, but definitely not happening. Sombra. Now this is weird. I think this is something that like we're always talking about, like what does support Sombra look like? This is one possibility. So basically, she hacks allies instead of enemies, and it gives them increased attack speed and overhealth. So basically, she gets to buff her allies without having to pocket them. You know what I mean? Interesting. I think this is a really cool idea. Probably overtuned, obviously, but this is cool. I really like this. I would be down to see them experiment with support Sombra. Virus would in beta 2 for Overwatch 2, Moira had like a new ability that they were trying out that weakened enemies if they got hit by it, and they would do less, like a lot less damage if they got hit by it. This kind of Virus does that to a lesser extent. I think weakening out enemies doesn't feel good for the user or the person who got applied to. So I don't see that actually happening. And Virus definitely doesn't need anything else. So no. Antivirus EMP, which felt weird to EMP and not hit enemies, but basically it just gives your allies health and attack speed, like a support ult would. Yeah, interesting. I would really love to see them experiment with Sombra as like a support. Everything is like over health, but I think it should be like health if they were going in the support direction. And then she has like a lower uptime. She'd be like a flex support, has like a lower uptime and just does more damage and like, more like Iliari, but like with more consistent, like being able to help her team, because Iliari is a lot more selfish. So yeah, I think this was like the coolest set of changes, other than like maybe one other character who we'll get to. Tracer, this was weird. You could actually opt to damage yourself to get more blinks. So if you didn't have blink on cooldown, you could take your health and get more. I love this idea. Not for Tracer, but like another character that gets to like use their own health as a resource to get other things back, that is so, so cool. I would love to see them put this on another character. Like, absolutely, that's so cool. And like, it'd be hard to balance, I think, but just like the idea of like taking a risk and being like, okay, I'm gonna hurt myself to use another one of my abilities or to do something or to level up. That's so cool. The rest is pretty similar. Or she had like a new passive. After dealing enough continuous damage, attack speed is increased and damage steals health. So basically, if she is able to keep up doing damage, which also, mind you, with the blinks, she can like get more blinks and keep up with the fight. Riskier play, right? She would then steal health and do more attack speed. This is so cool. This is really awesome. Like, another character that functioned like this, like higher mobility, like damaging themselves to like keep going, DPS character, I would love this. Maybe this is what they want for Reaper. I think this would be, hold on. This would be like really cool to like update Reaper with something like this instead. Maybe give him a new ability or something. Like, I'm totally down for this on another character. Because Tracer is perfect how she is and she shouldn't be changed. Widow! The change on her primary is that charge shots revealed enemies. Okay. Her Venomine was replaced with a barrier that she could crouch behind. That's awful. Never ever give a sniper a barrier that they can place down themselves. Why? Why would they ever do that? It was also super short and small, and it's like only for her ever. I'm not a fan of that. Infrastrite. Now this was what I think could be really interesting. If you don't want Widow to one shot, the idea of like in your ult you activate a weak point that you can shoot, and then you can only one shot them in the ult. I think it's probably still too strong and too annoying at the end of the day, but like that's like a good compromise for Widow, I think. So that's an interesting thing. I would like to see them like bring her damage down and let her only shoot like one shot and ult. That's a really easy change that they could make to make her less frustrating to play against. Okay, Ana. Biotic Rifle did straight damage, not damage over time, and it could headshot. So it worked more like a regular sniper. It felt really awkward to use because I was used to doing damage over time, and so it felt like her like shot time was lower, but whatever. That's just silly. It's more thematic to be a sniper that shot Widow's eye. So in the Mirror universe, Biotic Grenade just was a heal reduction instead of a heal block. I think this will probably happen. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think Bionade will become a heal reduction. I've been saying this for a while that I think it probably should. And nowadays Ana isn't as great with the DPS passive, but like I would not be surprised if we see Bionade become like a 75% heal reduction instead of a full heal block. Nano Boost only was applied to yourself. This is just silly. Obviously, Nano needs to go on other targets. It meant that Ana could heal more to her allies, and it also reduced enemy healing. I guess if you shot other people, she got the DPS passive or something. Definitely not going to change Nano. Also, they just gave her lunge, like Hanzo's lunge. Okay, that's definitely not coming for Ana. Brig's repair packs gave allies lifesteal. I kind of like that. It's like, remember Brig pack used to give overhealth and that was like super busted? I think that's like a cool middle ground to be like, oh, if you have a pack on you, you actually get some health back. Maybe you just have it heal less, and then like it lets it be more aggressive. Like she can let characters be more aggressive. Obviously, that only ever helps the people repair pack is typically good for anyways. Like your squishies who are in the backline. So it's not going to change how she plays much, but like that's a cool idea. I could see a support having that kind of ability. Whip shot was like a hook, like a mini hook. Silly, goofy, whatever. Her barrier got empowered if it took enough damage, and then if it was empowered, shield bash did like damage over time with fire. That's silly. It's another empowered thing. I do like empowered abilities, but like I don't want there to be too many of them, because then it's like, well, why does Doom even exist? You know, like everyone's got an empowered ability, so kind of silly, kind of fun. Mercy was weird. Um, Caduceus staff. What's it called? What actually changed with the regular? Oh, so if she was blue beaming somebody, if they were standing by the blue beam, they would take damage if they were nearby it. That's silly. I don't think that would ever happen. Um, I don't know if they would implement something on another character that's like, oh, if you're in this range while they're healing, you also take damage. That would be kind of weird. It's like when you get pocketed, then the character you're pocketing also is just doing a little extra damage around them. I maybe could see them do that, but that'd be like a really weird thing. Um, Soul Burn. Detonate a fallen ally or enemy. This is the most broken ability I have ever seen in a video game. It is like any enemy or ally that dies, she can ignite, instantly burst the soul from wherever on the map, basically. It felt like infinite range, and do an instant like 150 damage. I swear to God, you would get hit, like, so your friend would fall by, like, right next to you, and, like, you would instantly take 150 damage and be dead, too. And it's like, you could never group up ever, because if anyone died, you died, too. And you never know where the souls are, because the heat of battle is super far, and, like, all of a sudden you just, like, die. And it's on, like, a 6-second cooldown, so you can do it all the time. Is crazy. I don't think they would... I don't know, maybe they could implement something like this on another character. I don't think they would. This ability is broken. Like, seriously broken. Revenge. Gain the ability to fly and fire rockets. This is Valkyrie. But she has like a AoE like burst thing that comes out of her staff. It's pretty good. It did a lot of damage. I think this is some way that they may give Mercy more damage to herself, is like give her some kind of like burst thing. In fact, I feel like we saw this during a Blizzard thing one time. Like they showed us like concepts, and like here we had a thing where Mercy fired stuff out of her staff. This is like what that is. I don't see it actually happening, but I think that it could work in theory if they tried hard enough. Zen. When you got Harmony, Zen had to do more damage to increase the healing that Harmony gave. So it encouraged him to get further in. This is cool. I like this idea on another character. Like having to do more damage to get more healing. Not like Moira where you get resource back. It's like it literally does more healing numbers because you're doing more damage. That's cool. Discord, you took damage over time if you had Discord on. Nah, I don't like that. Probably pretty frustrating. His ultimate created a field that prevented enemies from using abilities. So this was like, it's like EMP, but it's like you're hacked when you're standing in it, and if you aren't standing in it, then you aren't hacked, right? So it's like a nullification zone is probably the best way to put it. I can definitely see this happening. Like this is, I think like in Valorant, this would be like Killjoy ult. I think, I don't really know. Don't quote me on that. I could see something like this happening. An ability where like a zone is like you can't use abilities in this zone, but like you can walk out of it and be perfectly fine. I could definitely see something like that happening. But yeah, that's it. That's all the changes overall. Some of them are really, obviously some of them are really silly, but like I could see some of these, like they've got some cool ideas here. Like I'm pretty impressed with the funny things they come up with. But they need to buff Echo. Like Echo feels awful. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind just doing all that good YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all of that, any of it helps me out. I really do appreciate it. If you're interested in more, this was streamed live at my Twitch, twitch.tv/Lane Hemingway. You can see all of my socials down below, but if you want to join in the discussion live, you can always check that out. Whenever I'm live, I try to do at least one discussion video, so there's always something to be involved in if I'm not just maulding on ladder. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you at the next one.